Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Sports
Podcast.
I am Joel Anderson.
I'm Jordan Pomaville.
And joining us, as always, is weighing in at 185 pounds.
Oh, you flatter me.
6'3",
That
the
was
one, the only sports outsider, Phil Ranta.
Hi.
I think you missed college. That's the only other thing
yeah.
from the University of Michigan.
Yep. Born in Lansing, Michigan, May 3rd, 1982.
You born in Lansing?
Yeah.
Seriously? We were born in the same hospital then?
Yeah.
Unless, I guess, were you born in a hospital in Lansing?
Oh, no, I was born in the gutter.
Kind of assumed.
I was born amongst trash.
So, you, me, and Magic Johnson, Phil, all born at Sparrow.
Uh-oh.
Right? It was Sparrow, right? That's the only
I
hospital.
don't know,
in Lansing
whatever
it'd have
the-
to be.
Phil, do you have any sports-specific memories the day you were born?
No, I'm a sports outsider, so I don't know anything about sports. That's the premise of the show. Oh, honk.
I don't have any sports-specific memories of the day.
Then
I
you're
was
not a
born.
true fan.
I could look some up.
That would be
But-
cheating.
See, March of 1984 and 1982. The Tigers were about
I didn't
2
exist
years
yet,
from-
and therefore sports didn't exist yet. The world revolves around me.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update, sales pitch.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update, alert. What?
Sales pitch.
Listen.
Hey, I buy a Tim Tebow here, 49, 50, you got 50 over here, brought to you by Mentos, feel the rush in your mouth. Sales pitch.
Just once in a while, pay attention to the intro
hey,
line.
listen. We have an amateur guy who came in to replace Roy.
I'll say.
Oh,
Yes.
the Roy plot line.
Oh, man.
I know everyone's been clamoring
they
for
want
Roy
it.
updates.
People probably listen. You want a Roy update? He's at home right now, depressed as hell and unemployed.
Well, it's the holiday season. There's lots of people staffing up.
The
Walmart.
Philadelphia Eagles have one healthy quarterback, former USC superstar Matt Barkley. This is because their backup quarterback, Nick Foles, has a concussion, and their starting quarterback is Michael Vick, who re-injured
Michael
his
Vick is
left.
actually hurt, though, right?
Yes, he re-injured
Aside
his
from
left
being
hamstring.
bad, he's hurt.
Well, no, he's always hurt.
He's not
Yeah.
just dogging it.
No, he's not.
Phew.
If neither are ready to go, they would have to sign another quarterback for some depth. They already signed practice squad QB G.J. Kinney.
Ah, G.J. Kinney.
Who is that?
Why is G.J. is a very awkward abbreviation for a name.
I'll say, doesn't roll off the tongue.
No.
Little difficult to say.
G.J.
Is he like the new Invincible? Is this like a Philadelphia area bartender?
He's invincible.
He's the field goal kicking, garbage picking Philadelphia phenomenon.
What?
That was a made-for-television movie starring Tony Danza as the garbage-picking, field goal-kicking Philadelphia phenomenon.
Whoa.
I wish I knew a lot more than I do know. Chip Kelly said of his quarterback situation, I don't have the final answer now. Looking for a quarterback, eh? Someone to run your spread and shred? Maybe someone who accepts Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior?
Ooh, I know who it is.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Right now his options are Jeff Garcia, who's been cold-calling NFL teams.
Don't see him as a
For the last,
God-fearing man.
6 years?
And Brett Favre, who sources say has become a bit of a diva off his Wrangler jeans fame.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's good.
They look good on him.
So
Yeah.
here's your answer, Phil. Timothy Richard Tebow.
Oh, T.R. Tebow.
TRT.
Yeah. You know, T.R.
He's only won everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
And he'd be a good role model for Philadelphia fans who accept him. And an excellent, though evasive, snowball target for Philadelphia fans who do not accept him.
Right. Oh, but imagine the cheesesteaks he could eat.
Oh.
Cheesesteaks as
a
far
nice-
as the eye can see.
Nice thing about being an Eagle, you're always very close to being just a snowball target.
Really. Or like basically, Nick Foles and Michael Vick will be back soon, right? You don't need a good role model. You don't need a good, reliable starter. You need a Band-Aid with religious imagery.
Yeah.
You need Tim Tebow he'll give Philadelphia fans someone to blame, someone to cheer, and most importantly, someone to blame.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Not even on Tim Tebow do I wish the Philadelphia fans. That is.
They're that bad?
Yeah. The Philly fans are notoriously, infamously, hideously awful to people.
That's why I'm named after him.
The go-to cliche is they booed Santa Claus.
They booed
and
Santa
threw
Claus.
snowballs at Santa Claus.
Was it because he wasn't real? They're like, you're a figment of my imagination.
I don't know where they got that accent from.
Yeah. What? That's
Have
not
you
the
ever
South. I'm
been
not going
to
geography.
Philly?
But anyway, earlier this year, the Seattle Seahawks, set the record. We covered it for the loudest stadium cheer.
Yes.
So can Philadelphia set the record for the loudest stadium jeer?
Ooh, I'd listen to that.
Most garbage thrown at an active player? Is it possible for low
Which,
register?
in fairness, like 8 of the top 10 of that record
Yeah.
are already held by Philadelphia.
They want to wipe out, it's like having all the video game scores, high scores. They want
Right.
all of them to say Philly.
Absolutely.
F.
Number 6 is, I
PHI,
believe, Santa
PHI.
Claus.
That's what I type in when I win in a video game.
What?
PHI.
PHI.
Abbreviation for Philadelphia.
Yeah, for Phil.
It's not like the Greek letter.
And
You
lastly,
son of a...
It's
Is
not
it-
like phi on you.
is it possible for low-registered boos to be so numerous and thick they coalesce into a physical foggy layer of booze that weighs down on players and makes it difficult to see?
Yeah, that's what happens in Philadelphia.
Yeah, the gravity on the field is actually heavier.
I like the idea of low booze consistently.
Yeah, speaking of the Eagles, I think it's worth pointing out the Eagles of the last 2 games, I think no offensive touchdowns or like 1 offensive touchdown.
Well, how could that be possible with offensive guru,
Guru,
Chip
Chip
Kelly
Kelly.
at the helm?
Yeah, and remember how there was all those stories after the first one about how Chip Kelly's new fast-paced offense was on the verge of revolutionizing the NFL?
Nope.
Did not so much work out that way. I don't know if anybody noticed that.
Well,
but
Phil, did you notice this?
No, I have no frame of reference.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update, sales pitch.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update, sales pitch. Brought to you by...
Hey, we got your Mentos right here. Mentos right here. $1 for 1, 2 for $2. Tim Tebow on sales pitch. Got your Mentos. Feel the rush in your mouth.
That is not a good price for
Sales pitch.
Mentos.
I don't know, $1 for a Mentos.
$1 for a single Mentos.
Well, I think you get the whole packet of them.
Oh, if you're talking the whole pack, then that's maybe okay. But
Vending machine prices.
yeah, right.
What do we got in the show today?
Gonna be interesting. We have, at this point, you'd have to say legendary MLB umpire, but maybe legendary for not quite the right reasons. Jim Joyce.
Oh, right. He was in the perfect game with
Yes, the imperfect
Armando
game where he
Galarraga.
blew the final out of a perfect game call, and that, one of my favorite moments in sports. The next day when Armando was cool to him and Jim was
Yeah.
cool. But he recently was the one who made the extremely, controversial obstruction call that proved to score the winning run in Game 3 of the World Series.
And he's got a guy's first name and a lady's last name.
All of these are
Joyce.
true about Jim
Yes.
Joyce. Gonna have him in the podcast.
All right, well, that's exciting. We have news, and I believe we're going to double up on weird sports.
You're goddamn right we will. You're goddamn right we will. That's 2.
Let's do it.
News on the Sports Podcast with Jordan, Joel, and Phil.
News. Washington safety Brandon Merriweather hits him high, hits him low, says he will be better and only hit him low from now on.
I don't know what that news story could possibly mean.
Subheadline, he also has opinions on domestic violence.
Uh-oh. Look out, world.
Merriweather, as safety for the Washington, D.C. professional football team, served a 1-game suspension on Sunday for 2 hits he had against the Chicago Bears' Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett on October 20th. It was originally 2 games. He appealed it down to 2, maintaining the entire time he did not use his helmet in the hits.
What?
There's a lot of new NFL rules
Okay.
about targeting, they're called, where you use your head in hits,
You should use your whole body.
No, you
No,
can't anymore
yeah.
because of concussions because of head trauma. Of course,
Oh, people were getting hurt playing football. Well, people got a hurt on the punky head.
I would like to see Phil doing this to like one of the
you got a
former fullbacks
concussion?
with CTE.
a man with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Of
It's
course,
pretty bad, Phil.
dude's got priors. Merriweather was fined $42,000 for a hit against Green Bay Packers running back Eddie Lacy in Week 2.
Yeah.
He was fined $50,000 for a hit in 2010 with New England and accrued $45,000 in fines a year later with Chicago. But don't worry, Merriweather has a plan on how to deal with it going forward. I guess I just got to take people's knees out, Merriweather said Monday
Whoa.
morning. That's the only way. I would hate to end a guy's career over a rule, but I guess it's better for other people than me getting suspended for longer. You just have to go low now, man. You've got to end people's careers. You got to tear people's ACLs and mess up people's knees. You can't hit them high anymore. See, I don't think the choice is hit them in the head or end their career.
Yeah, whatever happened to wrapping the legs and making them fall over?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. In his defense, you can't even really hit him center mass anymore because they got that whole undefendable receiver.
And if you hit him in the balls, then they're gonna be like, "Ouch!"
Yeah, he's not. I mean, well, first of all, in terms of targeting with your helmet, and I haven't seen the hits in question, but I'm totally on board with that. And I think any hit where you're targeting above the shoulders, I'm totally on board with. But I think when you then still wind up penalizing people who are leading with their shoulder and just hitting a guy who's coming across the middle of the field, that's when you get to the point where it's I can see where they're sort of well, what exactly are we doing at this point?
Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett had issues with the play against him. Brandon Marshall said, I respect the league trying to better our game. Guys like that, maybe he needs to get suspended or taken out of the game completely.
Yeah, well, Brandon Marshall is a mouthy asshole.
Well, don't worry, we'll get into it. Martellus Bennett said later in the week that he wanted to punch Merriweather. And then I
have no particular opinion.
So Merriweather responds, he feels like I need to be kicked out of the league. I feel like people who beat their girlfriends should be kicked out of the league too.
Wow, that was a low blow.
Brandon Marshall
fire
has been arrested multiple times on alleged domestic abuse charges, but has never been convicted.
That's a shot.
In that case, that guy should be kicked out of the league. I'm on the other dude's, the non-wife beater side.
You tell me who you'd rather have, Merriweather said. Someone who plays aggressive on the field or someone who beat up their girlfriend? Because everyone knows you got to put a ring on it if you want to beat her.
Never mind. I don't like either.
No, I made up the last part.
Okay, phew.
Last part was a joke, guys.
It sounded like it wasn't a joke.
Well, if I'm an offensive skill player, I'm going to go with the domestic violence guy. I mean, I'm looking out for my career now, and especially my knees.
Yeah.
So I am going to go with the wife beater on the field. Brandon Marshall, of course, responded to this via Twitter. There is only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. Hashtag Machine Marshall.
Ha-ha!
Like the sentiment, don't think it applies to beating your girlfriend.
Right, yeah. So what he's basically saying is man, this is ridiculous. In order to insulate myself from criticism, I have to stop beating my significant other. What kind of a world
I thought this was America.
In? Yeah.
Okay, Joel, here you'll like this. Here's the best quote of the story. Merriweather is explaining the hits. They told me to use my shoulder. I use my shoulder. I still get fined, and they say I use my head, he said. I mean, defenseless running backs? I never heard of a defenseless running back.
Yeah.
I think he's right.
Defenseless wide receiver I get because they're often in a prone position. Defenseless running back is running with the ball. They're an offensive.
They're like a moving cannonball.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it's by the same rationale. If you're a running back, you should get the ball and close your eyes and just sort of run down the field with your eyes closed. Because as long as you're headed in the right direction, no one can tackle you. Because that would be a hit in a defenseless running back.
Michael Irvin didn't get the memo about avoiding inflammatory statements about Native American stereotypes.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
Subheadline, he did get the memo about attention-grabbing pocket squares. That guy knows how to dress.
Does he?
Let's
Is he
be
a good
real.
dresser?
Yeah.
But a racist.
I mean, he's a flashy dresser.
Oh.
It's a little too flashy for my taste. The
Well,
pocket
for
squares
mine as well.
The
but
pocket square's a little too loud. His ties are usually spot on. I just wouldn't go with a matching pocket square.
I wouldn't go with any
me.
of them. But then my approach to fashion, I think most people would agree that Michael Irvin's more qualified to.
We know the NFL has a bit of an image problem with the Washington professional football team name, and Michael Irvin.
What was that team name again?
The Redskins.
The Redskins.
Oh, are
talking
you sure,
about-
guys? Because that sounds like a hideous racial slur.
They're
that no one
talking
should
about
repeat in
engines.
public.
Yeah.
Savages.
No,
Braves.
apparently, a lot of more media outlets, especially in the Washington, D.C. area, have started just calling them the Washington professional football team.
Oh, how about that?
That's nice.
The Washington Post for years apparently has called them the Pigskins.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Again,
Anyway,
pretty reasonable.
Michael Irvin didn't make matters any better on NFL Network's Game Day morning. He insisted that the Cleveland Browns quarterback, Jason Campbell, personally get down and lead these Browns to a scalping of the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs.
Yikes.
That was the quote. But don't worry, guys. He totally saves it because he goes on to say, and do it in a way that will make everyone say that Campbell is good. Not a joke. Actually, his follow-up.
Oh.
I like the Campbell pun on the soup. I'm on board with that one.
I didn't know there was genocide in this soup. I didn't know there was inauthentic and offensive Indian headdress in this soup. I didn't know there was a horrible history behind certain words in this soup. That's only if the soup was alphabet soup.
Yes. In that case,
You know,
it tells
here's the thing.
endless tales about horrible histories.
When you scalp someone, you don't necessarily kill them. So if anything, he should be like, hatchet someone to death.
My God,
Right,
Joel.
but he could just avoid the...
You don't want to slice the top of their head off and then leave them to have a fourth quarter comeback, bloody scalp and all.
I'm going to go vomit in the toilet for a while.
I think we're splitting hairs here.
Oh.
That's not a thing. That's not.
It was very racially insensitive, Jordan. Yep.
With all this talk about scalping, you come out and say something like splitting hairs.
I'm very offended.
Jordan, oh my God. How could you?
Power 106. John Calipari pays your bills.
Ooh.
Yeah, big boy in the morning.
University of Kentucky basketball coach John Calipari encouraged students to attend the annual blue-white basketball scrimmage with a hell of an incentive. Of course, to announce his plan, he took to Twitter, Phil.
That's good. Social engagement platform.
He said, "Attention UK students, I'm going to award 2 students who attend our blue-white scrimmage by paying for their undergraduate spring tuition."
Whoa.
What?
It was retweeted by every major chewing tobacco brand, which roughly half of the campus follows.
Haha.
Okay. Now, is this money laundering or a slush fund? Trick question. They're not mutually exclusive.
True.
John Calipari makes $5 million, and it's nice to see him giving some of that money away to non-scholarship athletes for a change. It's not like Kentucky is hurting for fans for the scrimmage. Last year, the game attracted over 12,000 fans to Rupp Arena. Calipari is the lure of one of the best recruiting classes in history this year, and his team is ranked number 1 in the preseason coaches poll.
Oh, well, I got to say, solid recruiting year from John Calipari. Probably totally legitimate.
Probably completely.
He's probably just out there sitting on couches and making perfectly legitimate offers to student athletes who are going to show up, probably stay all 4 years, graduate, legitimate, scholastic achievement during their time there.
Yeah. John Calamari, hashtag ethnic food pun. For you, the listeners of Sports Podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend a wonderful book called The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Joel saw the movie. He said that it was okay. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Again, that's audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network for your free audiobook. And now it's time for another Weird Sports! Weird Sports.
What do we got this week?
This week's weird sport, monkey baiting.
Oh, well, what's this?
What do you mean?
Is this exactly what it sounds like?
What, monkey baiting? What do
Yeah.
you think it sounds like?
A euphemism for
No
what?
euphemism. I think you're just leaving like peanuts out, and then the monkeys come grab them.
I've never heard that one before.
Monkey baiting is a blood sport involving the baiting of monkeys.
Oh, you
Wait,
nailed it.
blood sport.
Yeah.
So I guess there's more than just baiting monkeys.
The monkeys are the bait.
What?
Yes. You're not talking about masturbating monkeys until they bleed. Is that what you were talking about?
My mind went there when you said monkey
Okay,
baiting.
that's what I was thinking.
I mean, spank the monkey is a euphemism for masturbation, and then you had baiting right in there, so I feel like it was a pretty obvious comparison between the two.
Let's get a little background on this so we can understand why we were savages in the past.
Please.
The English were always keen for something new to challenge their dogfighting breeds. This resulted in rather strange fights, in part with completely surprising outcomes. Dog versus monkey was shown to be such a matchup.
Wait. I'm assuming
this
if
is
the
a
outcome was
dog-monkey
surprising, I'm
fight.
assuming that the monkey won.
Oh, this is a dog-monkey fight.
Right. And the
And-
monkey won, right?
Let's move on, shall we?
You said surprising outcome. I would be surprised if the dog didn't win.
These monkey gladiators proved to be a formidable opponent for the canine warriors, owners, and handlers of fighting dogs, frequently underestimated the monkey's abilities. The monkey's intelligence, dexterity, unorthodox fighting style, and gameness proved to overwhelm many canine opponents.
This is exactly how I win fights, what you just described.
Yeah, exactly.
My
Intelligence, dexterity,
yep.
and unorthodox fighting style.
Your gayness?
But what?
Is that an
Didn't I know what he
unorthodox
said?
fighting style? No,
I'm-
that's not the gameness.
Gameness.
Game.
Like gamesmanship.
You said the thing about Jordan. And he said, I just heard gayness. So I'm actually right now, I'm picturing like a press conference to Philadelphia Eagles backdrop. Like, Mr. Vick, what do you hear reports about your continuing dogfighting again? He goes, no, I'm not dogfighting again. Why did you wink there, Mr. Vick?
Because he's monkey baiting.
Yeah.
I'm just monkey
Off on a
baiting.
technicality. The dogs are not fighting each other. They're fighting monkeys.
The reason why I chose this sport is because this Wikipedia article comes with actual honest-to-God stories.
Let's hear them.
Let's hear the story of Jack, shall we?
Please.
The following occurrence is from The Sporting Magazine in the year 1799.
There was magazines in 1799?
The Sporting Magazine. It was full of ads. Ugh. A quite unusual fight between two animals was staged in Worcester.
Wait, these are happening in like mainland England? I
Yeah.
assumed this was like in the African English colonies.
No, the pictures they show a lot of people watching this. In a
So they're
very
like
regulated
importing.
way.
They're importing monkeys.
They take this seriously.
That's probably why the monkeys are so fearsome. They've been removed from their native habitat.
Yeah. The wager stood at 3 guineas. According
Wait,
to which,
they bet 3 Italians?
Shut your
That
mouth.
is
Shut
horrible.
your
They were
mouth.
so racist.
Shut your mouth. According to which, the dog would kill the monkey in at most 6 minutes. The dog's owner agreed that the monkey would be allowed to defend itself with a stick about a foot long. So imagine this. Monkey with a stick, foot-long stick. Dog. Everyone's betting on the dog. They're like,
I would
can I have
bet on
more
the dog.
guineas?
Even with the stick, I would bet on the dog.
You know, I mean, I know we didn't know about evolution then what we know about evolution now, but I think I may have gone monkey.
What, that it's bullshit?
Why? Yeah, so this was before the debunking of evolution.
Exactly. Hundreds of spectators gathered to witness the fight.
Actually, it was before evolution.
yeah, it's true.
I think the Origin of the Species came out in the early 19th century.
And the odds stood at 8, 9, and even 10-1 in favor of the dog, which could secretly be subdued, which could scarcely be subdued before the fight. Lots of people were betting on this.
Actually, at 10-1, I'm taking the monkey.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fair. The monkey, and also I'm telling a story about it, so I think you know it's going to be a rather surprising outcome. So you'd be an idiot not to. The monkey's owner took a stick about 12 inches long from his coat pocket and tossed it at the monkey and said, "Now, Jack, pay attention. Defend yourself against the dog." The butcher cried, "Now get after the monkey." Yes. He let the dog go, and it sprang at the monkey like a tiger. The monkey was amazingly nimble, jumped about 3 feet high in the air, and when it came down, landed directly on the dog's back, bit firmly on the dog's neck, grabbed his opponent's left ear with his hand, thereby preventing the dog from turning his head to bite him. And in this totally surprising situation, the monkey now began to work over the dog's head with the club as he pounded so forcelessly and relentlessly that the dog's skull from the poor creature cried out loudly. In short, the skull was soon cracked, and the dead dog was carried from the ring. Yet the monkey was only of medium size.
Does it say how quick it went? It sounds like it went pretty quick.
It was less than 6 minutes. The monkey
Here's the
murdered
thing,
that dog.
The monkey wins. There's no time limit, though. This is
Yes.
this is like the spread was 14, and the other team not only covered, they won.
You know what? I hate to say it, but there's still another monkey fighting story. There's just not the time.
What do you mean you hate to say it?
There's just not the time.
We will make time. What else is on this episode? Bump it. We're hearing another monkey fighting story.
We're hearing the story of Jacko Macaco. Jacko Macaco was a fighting ape or monkey who was exhibited in monkey baiting matches at the Westminster Pit in London in the early 1820s. He achieved some measure of fame amongst the sporting community.
Maximus!
Jacko Macaco, Jacko Macaco. Through the sporting community, through his reputed prodigious record of victories against dog. He was described as ashy with black fingers and a muzzle that may have derived from his first name from the association with the Jack Tars that brought him to the country. Jackow was reported to weigh 10 to 12 pounds and was pitched against
not a big
dogs.
monkey.
Yeah, he was pitched against dog up to twice his weight from a bet from 10 to 50 pounds that the dog would not last 5 minutes. People believed in this.
Now the dog's getting the ass end of the bet.
According to author William Pitt Lennox, his mode of attack, or rather defense, was at first to present his back or neck to the dog and to shift and tumble about until he could lay hold on the arm or chest.
Jackow Macacow invented the rope-a-dope.
He was
Yep.
like, hey, you want to jump right up at my neck and just grab it?
yeah.
Yes. Here's my neck. And
Yeah, when he ascended to the windpipe, clawing and biting away, which usually occupied him about 1 minute and a half, and if his antagonist was not speedily withdrawn, his death was certain. The monkey exhibited a frightful appearance, being deluged with blood, but it was that of his opponent alone, as the toughness and flexibility of his own skin rendered him impervious to the teeth of a dog. This was an immortal monkey.
Please tell me he escaped under mysterious circumstances and is believed to walk the streets of London even today.
We're about a third of the way through the story.
Oh my God!
Prepare. Lennox writes that after several fights, Jackow adapted his technique and would soon overcome his canine opponents by leaping directly on the backs and maneuvering himself into a position where he could tear at the windpipes while remaining out of reach of their jaws.
He's a dog-killing machine.
There was multiple authors that wrote about Jackow Macacow. The following was a fictionalized account by Pierce Egan from Life of London, in which his heroes, Tom and Jerry, visit the Westminster Pit in the year of 1820. The dog pit was packed in a few minutes.
It would be like an English accent, wouldn't it? Like Cockney.
The dog pit was packed in a few minutes, and many people were turned away grumbling, as if they had been deprived of the most beautiful sight in the world. They were so disappointed that they could not secure places ahead of time. Jackow Macacow was now presented in a pretty small cage, and was greeted by shouts and whistles from the spectators. Oi, Jackow Macacow, you go get him, rum tugger. He was not even polite enough to bow in the thanks of these signs of approval, which were directed at him alone. Jackow had a thin chain around his waist, about 2 meters long, and was fastened to a steel spike and pounded deep into the ground. And then he was taken from his cage. Immediately after the dog was brought out, it charged directly against the monkey. The monkey, however, before the dog reached him, ducked low with dexterity that could serve a prized boxer well, and rolled him into a ball in order to withstand the force of collision of the dog. Nonetheless, the dog immediately ducked under him and turned him over. At that moment, however, the monkey's teeth cut like a saw into the dog's throat, and like a knife ripped a large wound. Because of the great loss of blood which the dogs fought against Jackow Macacow suffered, most died shortly afterwards. The monkey very rarely suffered even a slight wound in these fights. It was said that he had such an unbelievably ferocious nature that it seemed expedient to his master to always have the steel plate between him and the monkey in the event that he inadvertently bit his legs. "What a monster!" said a greasy butcher, who sat there with mouth open, a red nightcap on his head, pointing at Jackow Macacow. "I bet a leg of mutton on the monkey. You could strike me down if I ever saw such a thing before that in my life. It is truly astounding. He seems to destroy the dogs with such ease, as if for decades he'd been doing nothing but fight dogs." You could fill a small book with similar quotations, which came at the noisy and excited crowd, all of which admired the finishing qualities of Jackow Macacow. Some laughed, others yelled wildly, "Oi!" and others, a few people, constantly jumped up and down in a kind of ecstasy, pounded the canes at the floor, resembled closely to the inmates of a mental hospital who had escaped from their straitjackets. Jackow had finished off 14 dogs in a row, but then he was challenged by a canine named Puss, who had a similar record.
The dog's name was Puss? I'm sorry, keep going.
They had a taste for irony.
Yeah.
Puss suffered a lacerated neck, and Jackow had his jaw torn off.
What?
Both died shortly after the match.
That was a fictionalized account.
Nope. That's how it really ended.
Jackow died?
Sorry, I didn't stop when the fictionalized account. Starting with Jackow had finished off 14 dogs, that was no longer a fictionalized account. That's how Jackow died.
Wait, the 15th dog he fought that match?
In a row, yes.
Where are they getting all these
There's
dogs
14
from?
dogs in a row, and then Jackow. No, I'm sure he killed way more than 14 dogs.
Well, if he killed 14 in one day,
yeah, the 15th
you
one
have to
of that
assume
round.
that's like 14 a weekend or something like that.
Tore his jaw square off. Jackow was like Achilles. He had a heel, and that was his jaw. He was Jaw Achilles. And that comes to an end another Weird Sport! Over the log into the center
So now, one of the few umpires who has name recognition, and one that Jordan and I both recognize because of his history of the Tigers,
right.
Jim Joyce, who is actually running a little bit late, but I see him coming in the front door and the other side of the office. There he is, Jim Joyce. He is headed toward us right now.
Oh, no, it actually looks like someone dropped a bunch of folders and papers in front of him.
Crap.
It looks like.
Well,
that might have been. I'm not sure who that was.
They're in his way. The folders and papers are in his way. They're picking them up. They're getting out of his way.
There's a lot of papers there.
Yep. Okay, and he's continuing on. He's continuing on towards us now. Okay.
He's almost. Yeah, he's just a little.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a hallway.
Well, the mail guy's walking in front of him.
Oh, jeez.
He's pushed his cart in front of him. He's making his delivery. So
our mail guy's really old.
Yeah, he's like 87. He's really slow. He's union though.
Yeah,
we can't fire him.
We're not getting rid of him. Yeah.
Okay, letter. He's moving on, and Jim is continuing his path here to the studio where we're going to conduct our interview. What?
Sally got him.
Oh shit!
She's talking to him right now. She's probably talking about. Yeah, she's doing the.
She's
the petting
clearly
motion
talking about her cat.
With her cat with her hands, like she's holding a cat, but there's no cat there.
This could be days. Once Sally gets going, Jim is pointing to something behind Sally, and he's moved on.
Oh, nice!
All right, good play,
great
Phil.
move.
That was nice move, Jim.
Heads up play.
Absolutely.
Okay,
and
he's
there's
really
Gene.
Gene, the scheduling guy.
Oh,
the
yeah,
booking
Gene's
guy.
saying hi to him. Oh, Gene is yelling a lot. He probably mispronounced Gene's name.
Jean. Yeah, no, it's
Gene hates it when people do that. Okay, Gene is still yelling, but Gene, being the scheduling guy, knows, okay, and Jim is back on his way.
Like,
Yeah.
gosh. Oh, see, that's our intern. He spilled coffee on him.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, he's doing the weird napkin thing where he's putting all the napkins on his chest because he spilled coffee on Jim Joyce's shirt.
Don't do that, especially not our intern. This is a sexual harassment suit
that feels
waiting to
uncomfortable
happen.
right there.
Yeah. All right. Well, he's on his
They're
way now.
they're blotting. They're done blotting.
Yeah. All right. He's past. He's walking near the delivery deck. He should be here any second now. And what's that? Oh, geez, that's a giant Easter Island head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Who ordered that? Was that? I hope that was Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I did.
I don't want to have
to
pay for the shipping on that.
It was free shipping. I'm not going to get a giant Easter Island head unless it was free shipping. But in retrospect, I'm not exactly remembering what.
I'm
made
glad
me
we didn't have our old mailman holding that because he would have died.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cardiac arrest trying to carry that.
Though he is going to have to walk into my office. So, all right. Well, all right. They're going ahead.
He's okay. They've moved the Eastern Island head there.
Yeah. All right. And here he goes. Jim is walking towards us, and he's taking a wrong turn. Jim!
No, this way.
Jim, buddy,
the
over
glass
here.
door, the one with the headphones. It says studio.
Yeah. Okay, all right, here he comes. He's right outside now, folks. We're almost ready for our interview with Jim Joyce to talk to him about the obstruction call.
And I want to touch on Armando Galarraga.
Touch on Armando Galarraga, and he's... Oh, somebody opened the door right into his face. They knocked him out. Who is that?
Hey, guys, I got the burritos. How's the Jim Joyce interview, huh?
I wouldn't know, actually.
We wouldn't know, Phil. You've already ruined it.
Carne asada.
Citizens of Podcast Town, this brings to the close another Sports podcast. Unfortunately, the last Weird Sport went a little long, and so the next Weird Sport got bumped. It'll have to come back next week.
I was not planning on doing both stories, but you all seem to really enjoy Jack.
The crowd was clamoring for another Weird Sport.
It's okay.
Let's not forget Jack.
Jack
Monkey. Before Jack Al Makaka also had a pretty good story.
I talked to the Weird Sport waiting in the green room. He understands.
Okay, phew.
And he'll be back next week.
Absolutely.
That's a relief.
Phil, give us our contact information.
You can email us at sportspodcast@gmail.com. That's sportspodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at sports3podcast. That's at sports3podcast. You can find us on Facebook by searching sports podcast, your little top bar thingy. You can find us on Stitcher Radio. Go to Stitcher.com today and download the Stitcher app and search sports podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/comedypodnet to see all of our back episodes and watch me play Tecmo Super Bowl as the 1991 Detroit Lions. You can find us on iTunes by searching Sports the Number 3 Space Podcast. That's Sports the Number 3, all one word, Space Podcast. While you're there, please rate and review. And for all of our back episodes, go to comedypodcastnetwork.com. I think that was probably my most flawless delivery of the...
You've had so many good ones.
I feel like that one was
but here's the thing. It was really close, but I'm looking into the waiting room, and Jim Joyce is in there.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, all of us thought that was a perfect delivery, but Jim Joyce is saying that you were out on your last syllable.
I have no frame of reference.
I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, that's a terrible call, but there it is. Not a perfect set of contact information. Oh well. Lights off.
You have received this transmission from the Comedy Podcast Network. For more shows, visit comedypodcastnetwork.com.